Back in 2006, a convoy of pre-1958 Series 1 Land-Rovers was organised to travel from Oxford near Christchurch to Cambridge in the North Island to mark 50 years of the Oxford and Cambridge first overland expedition from London to Singapore in 1956. In 2011, Leon Zwetloot contacted the same email list to see if anybody would be interested in getting a few Series 1s together to do a tour around the back roads and talk Land Rover for a few days. 7 Series 1s answered the call and travelled from Taumaranui via some back roads to Taihape and then on to Napier over the weekend. This year, we headed back to where it all began, in 2011, to the motor camp on the eastern outskirts of Taumaranui, but instead of travelling on, we used the camp as a base and travelled out each day to explore the Pureora Forest and the valleys to the west around Ohura.
So we're going up to the Western Access Road. So the first part of it is a quite a bit of road mileage until we get to Pureora Forest. We'll be heading there. And then from there, we're heading up the Western Lake. So we're being filmed.
Oh yeah. Hello.
Hello, Mum.
I guess that's about all.
So just one more thing, Leon. My fuel pump came out a couple of times yesterday, so I just opened the bonnet, tapped it, and I was off again. So if you're behind me and I pull over, as long as you're not Leon, just go past, because that'll be probably what it is again. Yeah, don't worry about it.
Hey Leon, is this the most you've had on a run?
No.
Carterton would be the biggest one.
Carterton, or the one you organised for, haven't you?
Yeah, 25 of them there.
We had 31 around East Cape.
Yeah, 21. Yeah.
Well, 31 at Gisborne, 29
Gisborne was
East
the
Cape.
biggest, I think, yeah.
So how many got today?
Well, 21 vehicles.
Shall we?
Alright, so we'll head on off. Tell them to the front.
We first headed east into the sun along State Highway 4 to turn off at Mananui into State Highway 41 and wind our way up through the morning mist. We rumbled our way up through the valley to commence our gear winding climb up through the thick mist to the Waitui saddle at around 900 metres. At Kuratau we turned north up the western side of Lake Taupo on State Highway 32. At the top of the lake we turned west on Kakaho Road. By just after 10 AM we'd stopped at the Kakaho camp to regroup and refresh.
Behind me, so now I'm going to shift the bank in a second. So the head drops right.
After morning tea we continued on Kakaho Road for about another 10 kilometres before we turned off into Waimanoa Road to head north to the geographical centre of the North Island. I can hear my wife shouting, "Just let it go!" And look, just hear me out, okay? I've been meaning to visit this site for some time now. This is the geographical centre of the North Island, which is interesting, but it's how it was calculated that just bugs the crap out of me. On the left of the screen is a description of how this location was first worked out back in 1961. It was done by hanging a metre-long cardboard cutout of the North Island from a length of fishing nylon, and when the bit of cardboard sat level, the nylon must be the geographical centre of the North Island. Really? None of this satellite GPS carry-on? How Kiwi is this? But just for the hell of it, if you take the GPS reading of the northernmost point of the North Island, which is the Serval Cliffs, just east of Cape Reinga, to the southernmost point, which is Cape Palliser, take one from the other, halve that, and add it to the northern GPS location, you then get a line across the North Island, just south of Cambridge, about 58.46 kilometres north of the balanced bit of cardboard location. You only have to take a look at the North Island to see it would weigh more at the bottom than the top, so it would balance lower than the GPS measurement, surely. Whoa, the world's off its axis. Interestingly, if you do the same east to west, so the easternmost point is actually East Cape, and take that away from the westernmost point, which is really close to the northernmost point, but just west of Cape Reinga, on Cape Maria Van Diemen, again, take one from the other, halve the difference, and add the western GPS location, we actually come within 7 kilometres of the balanced bit of cardboard calc. We stopped off to inspect an abandoned Caterpillar bulldozer deep in the forest, and was used to recover split totra battens back in the 1940s. Like a bomb flash, we burst out of the forest canopy into a bright clearing, and toilets for the ladies, at the Napier campsite, marking the start of the very popular timber trail. Here we met our guide for the afternoon, Bill Holloway, who gave us a quick history on the area and information on the timber trail.
We planted the tree over here. That was sort of the end of the native logging then. We have the timber trail now, opened in 2013, so it's 10 years old now. How long is it? 85 kilometres from here to Overland.
Bill said that the timber trail was to boost tourism for the ex-forestry based region, and was hoped to achieve an annual usage of about 3,000 cyclists per year. Bill went on to tell us that for the 2022 season, despite COVID, over 25,000 cyclists hit the timber trail through the Pureora Forest. Long may it continue. After lunch, we were fortunate to be able to travel through private property off the Maria Roa Road, to head south through maturing exotic forest blocks, to come out on the Yongaroo Stream Road, which we followed right through the forest, coming out at the Pureora Sawmill campsite on Pureora Road. With the aid of our guide, the man with all the keys, we were able to drive our vehicles right up the steep incline to the stunning Maramatai suspension bridge. The Maramatai suspension bridge is 141 metres long, Sits 50 metres above the river, took 2 years to build and cost $4 million, but what amazing structure to find deep in the bush. Bill, our guide, maintains the cycle tracks and has a special trailer which can carry 1,000 kilos of crushed rock to spread on the tracks, yet is narrow enough to fit on the bridge. Yeah, stop and process that for a second. He's driving a quad with a ton of rock on the back over this suspension bridge, which is sagging and swaying like a boat deck while we were walking on it. I thought this was worth a mention. The photo on the right is of a feral cat that was shot near Mount Ruapehu, and when gutted to examine what it had been living on, contained 102 endangered short-tailed bat carcasses in various stages of digestion. Pureora Road joined Kokomiko Road, where we turned east joining Ongaru Stream Road again to have a look over an old abandoned Edan's mill at Waimiha. Here we met with the patron of the mill, Nikki Mounsey, who escorted us through the remains of the preserved native-only mill, as the owner had no interest in milling exotic timber, i.e. pine. The giant saw blades and boiler that powered them remain as rusting reminders of the hard life of the early New Zealand bushmen and millers.
You certainly wouldn't be able to go in there without that. Yeah, well, you wouldn't get to that perfectly. So you're very privileged and you've been a good group to take through there. And you kept going. Good, so it was good to get all done.
At the mill we said goodbye to Bill Holloway and headed out west to State Highway 4, then back south to Taumaranui. Sunday dawned another clear day, and with a shorter trip, we allowed a slower start with a 9 AM meeting at the BP at the end of town.
Now I just want to stress about the convoy rules again, and just try to remember the stretching out business. You need to be more aware of what's going on. You may think that the guy behind's coming and you turn and then he's lost and then so it stretches out. Is that, you reckon that?
Yeah, we had a few cases yesterday where the party got split up because someone didn't wait at an intersection.
Yeah, but it was only John we nearly lost.
Yeah, but I was behind John.
John's already lost.
We're not covering the distance we covered the previous day, heading west this time into the back roads of the Forgotten Highway, towards the old coal town of Ohura. In Taumaranui we crossed the Ongaru River and climbed Hospital Hill to turn off the Forgotten Highway on Pureora Road to head up over the high Papa Cliffs. Pureora Road is a beautiful drive, although one Land Rover was not so happy and conked out just on the outskirts of town. Paul Furkett in his 1949 80-inch Land Rover had been plagued by a tired fuel pump on his way north from Carterton and had chosen to stick with the devil he knew rather than risk a heart transplant on the road. But alas, the pump had said enough.
Kevin here, Paul stopped. Paul has stopped.
A short, sharp shock in the top of the pump can usually reaffirm who's boss. Well, some of the time, but this time it lasted until our descent on the other side of Mount Rangariri to totally turn the lights out. As soon as the bonnet went up, tools, wires, a standby fuel pump, thermos flask full of tea, slabs of fruitcake came out and we all set up camp in the middle, well, no choice really, of Pureora Road, with Alan and his tutor on his PRS further down the valley, chasing us along as we had an appointment with our next guide. We finally met up with our local guide, John Dickinson, at a gateway that marked an old abandoned road to a tiny settlement which had long since vanished into the ground.
Requesting a toll. Oh, I'm sorry.
We crossed John's farm, still following the Ohura, stopping for a comfort stop for the ladies at John's house, before we turned to the banks of the Ohura for lunch, next to a section of preserved original bush.
Yeah, so John's, as I say, been farming in this area coming from Pureora, and so he's fallen in love with this area. He's since leased his farm, and now he's living in New Plymouth, and still loves getting back here whenever he can to do stuff, and so he was pretty keen to show us what's in this area as we met him from his boundary gate down there. He knows quite a bit about this area. Well, he knows quite a bit about this area. This is a particularly lovely bit of bush, which is still, can I say, virgin bush, John? Yep. So
We had a quick walk through the uncut bush area, which would have clothed this entire region prior to clearing for farming in the 1920s, before we headed out through the farm tracks to the Ohura Road.
This little wee fridge, it's only so wide.
some fence repairs.
Thanks, John.
Different country over this side, eh?
Dairy farm, man.
Yeah.
Like 2 more gates in the jet plane time, isn't it? Keep waiting, when's Kim I don't want my jet planes.
Mobiles. Yep. Yep. It's about this time of year. But normally I get a strip. That could be anything wells for downside.
A quick comfort stop at Ohura, then back over Huria Road to drop John back at his car, before heading back to Taumaranui on State Highway 43. We did a quick detour to show my wife the beautiful Sunshine Railway settlement, and then back to camp to check the temperatures of some beers. Ellen had arranged for our last supper at the Taumaranui Cosmopolitan Club, which is a bit of a baptism of fire for the new kitchen manager, with over 60 patrons arriving. But we're all fed and watered, well, eventually.
Show us it.
Yeah, what is it?
Well, it's good to have you all here. We've got a bit more to say later on, but hey, thanks Adam, and Angela, it's always good to have you guys on. And Shane. Yeah, you are a good bunch of guys. You keep coming back. Why? Leon's been there for all of it, and it just seems so good to be here. Because we all have something in common, and we all seem to be at home.
So I've got a bit more to say later on. Thanks, Adam and Angela again, and Leo and Charles, James. Yeah, that's about all.
Are we all go, Leon? All in line?
Monday dawned with the expected change in the weather for the worse, and we gathered for our farewells in the rain with Ian and Rob heading south to catch the Cook Strait ferry, while the remainder travelled north up State Highway 4 to visit Andy and Linda Leaning near Ohura, where Andy restores series Land Rovers in his shed.
Yeah, have a look around, you'll see a few Land Rovers. There's an old Series 107 out the back there that's in need of a restoration. It's got a good chassis, it's got a good straight body, but it needs an engine and gearbox. But there is a gearbox there, but it doesn't want to be built.
He appreciates the vehicles like we all do. So now we're going to split up. Some are heading north, some are heading south, and
I'm heading into the workshop.
And you're heading to the workshop. Yeah. We've got a customer now.
Oh yeah.
He's got starting difficulties as well.
Regather next year. We haven't decided where yet. We try and find different locations around the country and stay there for the 3 nights and do a few just local tracks, or get onto a farm that's good.
And that's about it. Thanks for watching. Please leave a thumbs up and comments below. Hope to meet a few of you at the Land Rover 75th birthday in Wanaka over Easter. Until next year guys, all the best.